Hello and welcome back to Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. My name is Maybe Dennis, and last time we started the game, we went right into the courtroom for a little bit as we found out that there is a dead person. Yes, a dead person, and a kind of lying butler-esque person as well. And we went to the beginning of the game, flashback to where it all started. We went to a town, met with Mr. McCoy, forgot his first name, not gonna lie, and our mentor, Ruby, Timora, argued a lot, and while they were arguing, we met with McCoy's daughter, whose name is Celeste, and after playing some chess with her, it seemed like our mentor and Mr. McCoy ended up having a disagreement. Things didn't work out, and then at night it seemed like he was killed, and his daughter, Celeste, was framed. So now we're defending her in court. But yeah, I like the first part. It definitely has some Ace Attorney-isms, but it's not exactly like it. We didn't exactly start in the courtroom completely. We had an investigation, and we got to know some of the characters rather than just like, oh, here's a description of them. And I actually really like that. They also had some different systems, such as, we had some emotion stuff as well as mind-reading abilities. Just kind of similar to a Magatama if you think about it, though not completely the same. But yeah, we're gonna continue with this guy's testimony. He is the detective, Orem White. So we're gonna press first. Are you saying that my client used a spell and channeled it through her sword? There are a vast number of spells that operate like that. Spells from the School of Transmutation are almost always channeled through an object. Okay. Defendant over there, her spell compendium has a spell called Mage Blade. Mage Blade? It's a transmutation spell that sharpens my sword. I usually use it when I need to cut through an enemy's plated armor. You didn't realize that she led such a lethal lifestyle. But anyways, wouldn't it be excessive for the defendant to use a spell like that on the victim? He wasn't wearing any kind of armor at the time of death. The victim and the defendant were in an intense argument. Perhaps she used a spell in a fit of rage. It was a crime of passion after all. Ugh, that theory is a little far-fetched. But you'll need hard evidence if you want to disprove it. Okay, so, she must have used it on her sword before stabbing the victim. Why would she go through the trouble of doing that? Her sword alone would have been enough to commit the murder. Mage is always looking for an excuse to throw their power around. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Isn't that just your own personal bias, Commander? You don't need to understand why the defendant did what she did. The fact of the matter is that magic was present at the crime. Do you have any evidence of the contrary? You don't. Yet. That spell is the reason why there are traces of transmutation magic on the wound. If she used a spell like that, wouldn't that have created traces of magic on the ground? How so? Well, let's say we follow the prosecution's theory. That would mean that the victim fell to the ground with a sword inside of him. At this point, Mage Blade would still be active, right? It would definitely leave a magical trace on the ground after making physical contact with it. We are already way ahead of you. We had our people scan the crime scene. I like this face. And we found traces of transmutation magic right under the body, just like you said. Oh, if you don't believe me, I have a picture of the crime scene right here. Oh, why was this picture not brought to my attention? There was no need. The entire case was open and shut. Crime scene picture. A picture of Flintheart McCoy. That's his name, yes, after he was murdered. Yeah, that in our notes. You've seen pictures of the dead before, but feels different now that the body is of someone you knew. Huh, it looks like there are traces of magic on the ground. Oh, that's what that pattern is. Oh, I see. But the shape is a little weird, isn't it? Huh. Huh? What was that just now? That was an interesting expression. You can see it right in this photo. She killed him with a stab from the front. Wait. Oh! So if you look at the evidence, his autopsy says it was a stab from behind. And let's see the picture. Yeah, this clearly shows the blade being shoved from the front. Alright. I'm kind of curious what happens if you press him, like what kind of information we'll get. Right, this photo does show that he was stabbed from the front. But why did I feel like there's something wrong with this picture? Oh, so there was not anything to... Ah, gotcha. Alright, we already know where this is. Let's go present the autopsy report.
Objection!
Objection! I'm sorry, Commander White, but it seems that you've presented another glaring contradiction. Oh yeah? And what's that? You said that my client stabbed the victim from the front. Am I correct? Yeah, you can see it plain in that picture. So, where's the contradiction? That's the thing, Commander. Your picture clearly shows that the victim was stabbed from the front. But the autopsy report says he died from a stab from behind! Huh! What?
Objection!
Orem, you're supposed to release everything that you had. Why wasn't this photo given to me? There was no need. There's no way it could have been anyone other than that damned mage. Members ring out across the gallery. It didn't matter how corrupt the justice system was. You wouldn't be able to cover up such a blatant incompetence. You have them right where you want them. Oh! He swings that gavel with force. Order! Order in the court! Mr. Cuthbert, what is the meaning of this? I'll tell you what the meaning behind this is, Your Honor. As the autopsy report states, the victim died from a stab wound originating from his back. But this photo clearly shows that the sword entered from his front. That can only mean one thing. The sword was inserted into the wound after the fatal wound had already been created. That's crazy! Do you honestly expect us to believe that? Then please enlighten me, Commander White. How else would the sword be facing the opposite way? Do you think my client stabbed the victim with the hilt of her sword? I don't think so. What really happened is clear. The real murderer stuck the sword through the victim's wound to implicate my client. But they made a careless mistake and stuck the sword through the opposite side.
Objection!
It appears that I underestimated you, Mr. Cuthbert. But you still got ahead of yourself. How so? Really, Miss Steelwind? I believe that Mr. Cuthbert has adequately cast doubt on your case. Oh, did he now? Then let me ask you one question, Mr. Cuthbert. If your client didn't kill Flintheart McCoy, then who did? How should I know? I'm here to defend my client, not to prove who the murderer is. If I'm not mistaken, it's... You know, I wish that they made that argument in Ace Attorney a bit more often. If I'm not mistaken, it's the commander's job to figure that out. Oh, I'm well aware of the commander's incompetence, but one fact still stands. There was magic detected on the wound and the sword. Would you like for me to tell you how many mages live in that small town? You don't like where she's going with this? Just one. There's only one registered mage in that entire town. And that mage is her client. What? The defendant was also established to have been with the victim hours before his death. She was the last known person with him, and she was the only mage there. In addition to that, I have several witnesses who heard them arguing. How she murdered the victim is simply an unanswered question. I see. That certainly does change matters. I can't say that the prosecution's evidence is irrefutable, but there is still evidence that casts guilt upon the defendant. Damn it, you almost had them. There are far too many unanswered questions for me to pass a verdict. We will give law enforcement time to clear these unknowns. I suggest that they conduct their investigation more thoroughly this time. We will resume the trial tomorrow morning. Oh, we have a... Well, this is different. Court is adjourned. Bam! Well, it seems like we have a investigation part 2. We've never had that in the first case of an Ace Attorney game. Hello, Cuthbert. As you walk out of the courtroom with Celeste, you're greeted by Miss Tamora. Miss Tamora, you're here? Recall how you froze up during the first cross-examination. You feel a little ashamed that your mentor saw all of that. Well, at the end of the day, you were able to pull it together. And once you did, you performed adequately. On that note, I wanted to give you this. Celeste's spell compendium. It's Celeste McCoy's spell compendium. It contains the formula for the following spell, Mage Blade. Mage Blade. Oh, we finally have spells added into our evidence. School, Transmutation, Incantation, Arcane. Gesture, none. Duration, 1 minute. Concentration, yes. For the duration of the spell, the edge of this object, usually a blade, becomes unnaturally sharp, making it more effective at slashing through tough material, while under the effects of the spell, the object emits a yellow radiant glow. A target object must be no longer than 5 feet cube. Okay, no longer than 5 feet cube, okay. My spell compendium? I swiped it from the dining area before the Inquisition arrived. I thought it'd be best for you to have it. So this is your spell compendium, and it only has 1 spell. Mage Blade. This means that the prosecution has to prove that Celeste used that specific spell. It will restrict how they approach this case, which will give them an edge over them. But that prosecutor is really something else. You mean Prosecutor Steelwind? You can still remember her ripping glare. It gives you chills thinking about it. You wouldn't even know about it, but this was also her first trial. Oh, huh! It's really rare that we get someone's the opponent as their first trial. I think the only one ever in an Ace Attorney game was Godot. Really? I thought that her inexperience would make her for a good first opponent. But that girl, she's a natural in the courtroom. It makes me wonder why a Steelwind would choose to become an attorney in her first place. What do you mean? The Steelwinds are a powerful noble house. Of the noble families, they are one of the few who directly answer to the king. Most members of their house take high-ranking positions in this kingdom's military. So it's a bit strange that she chose to become a prosecutor despite that. Steelwind. I feel like I've heard it somewhere before. In any case, it's best that you focus on the trial. You have about a day until the court resumes. Right. Now that I have the time, I'd like to ask you some questions, Celeste. Namely, about that argument you had with your father. Oh. You see the bailiffs staring daggers at Celeste. It looks like they're waiting to take her back to her cell. Whatever questions you have for her, we'll have to wait. I should probably go. Celeste walks away while avoiding eye contact with you. Bringing up her argument with Flintheart may have struck a nerve. I'll also use this opportunity to investigate the crime scene. I wouldn't be surprised if the Inquisition missed something. You utterly embarrassed them today. Don't expect them to make the same mistake twice. Right, there are a lot of things that we still don't know about. As much as I hate to admit it, your skill of deductions far surpassed mine. Oh, okay, sure. If anyone can figure out what really happened that night, it's you. Alright. Well, you can see when I'm playing this game. This will be way in the past. You arrived back at the McCoy Tavern. Luckily for you, the Inquisition set up a teleportation circle for you to use. With that circle, you can magically teleport between the capital and the crime scene instantly. It's definitely miles better than having to travel by carriage. Huh. Huh. You have instantaneous transportation, whatever. So that means anyone from the city that's associated with the Inquisition can get here. That doesn't prove anything. That doesn't mean that she could be the only mage. That should be evidence. Oh, it's you. What are you doing here? Commander White takes notice of you as you enter the tavern. It looks like he's working with a team of knights to investigate the crime scene. I'm the defense attorney of this case. I have just as much right to investigate the crime scene as you do. Yeah, whatever. Just remember, got my eye on you, kid. Let's talk to him first. Actually, the way I usually do things is examine everything as possible. Oh, thank God they show you what's examinable. It's a painting of a man in a suit. There's some text on it. Adam Evelay, a politician of the sorry, that said politician of the pandemic. Whoops, politician of the pedantic. Oh, I've heard of this guy. He's some kind of politician from one of the nations west of here. I heard he's pretty much a shoo-in to win whatever election they're gonna have there. An election? Was Flintheart studying democracy for his little revolution? Oh yeah, this was definitely a magic spell thing. It's a painting of a mage, and there's some text next to it. Somala Daglian, a legendary practitioner of the arcane arts. He's mysteriously disappeared one day. Okay. It's rumored that he was developing a formula for a new transmutation spell. However, he was reckless in casting the spell, and the Daglian quickly lost control of its magic. His body was never found. Many speculate that he didn't actually die during the accident, but if that's true, where did he end up? Sounds like a cautionary tale against using magic. That might explain why Flintheart keeps it up in his tavern. Yeah, in Ace Attorney, they had a lot of these that were just not very clear sometimes, at least in the early games. There's a modern-looking lamp on the mountain on the wall. It's a lamp powered by an artificary. I didn't expect to find something this sophisticated in a town like this. Bah! Artificary is just another form of magic. Actually, artificary, I don't know how to pronounce this word. Artificary draws from the surrounding ley lines too. I didn't ask for a science lesson, kid. Anyways, look where the artificary got these folks. The arcane power cell broke, and they haven't had any power for weeks. Yep, nothing can beat good old oil and flame. Broken power cell. McCoy Inn is outfitted with several lamps powered by artificary. However, the arcane power cell has been broken for weeks, and the lamp can't be turned on. Okay, so that covers that. Dead body. There's a chalk outline of a person on the ground of the tavern. This is probably where Flintheart died. The outline matches the picture that the Inquisition took. Nothing seems out of place here. There's a broken bottle on the floor. It's shattered close to the chalk outline of the body. The label has words lotus juice on it. I had never heard of that brand before. Must be foreign. Okay, the shattered remains of a glass bottle, blah blah, lotus juice. The Inquisition lit some candles, but there's a magical lamp right there. I wonder why they're not using those instead. Did we not just explain that? Anything else? Alright, I think I covered everything. Let's talk. Questions! I was wondering if I could ask you some questions about this case. Ha! As if I'd help the likes of you. I saw who your boss is. I know what you're up to. That witch has probably sent you here to con me. Wait, what? I'm just looking for some information. A likely story. He was cooperative before when he let you see Celeste. Why is he being stubborn now? Is he angry that you embarrassed him in court today? In any case, you won't get anywhere at this rate. If you want his help, you'll need to persuade him through an argument. Psychological profiles. It helps you prepare before starting an argument with someone. Talk to Orem or present items to him to build a psychological profile for him. If you successfully fill the profile gauge, you'll receive more information during any arguments against him. Okay, so that's our profile gauge. Oh, okay. The Inquisition. So what does the Arcane Inquisition do exactly? Trying to pick a fight with me? No, I'm just genuinely curious. Well, I'm sure you already know, but us Inquisitors investigate crimes that involve magic. Do crimes like this happen often? Nah, maybe once in a blue moon. Makes sense. Most mages are in the nobility after all. Even if they're untouchable, they don't make a habit of getting into trouble with the law. You must have an easy job then. You got that right. The only reason we exist is to clean up the noble's mess. He doesn't seem happy about that. Mages. Commander White, you seem to speak negatively about my client's magic. Do you have a personal grudge against mages? You're damn right I do. Wow, you didn't even try to deny it. If you had any sense, you would too. All a mage has to do is wave the hands and say some magic nonsense. And then suddenly you have a dead body on the ground. And don't get me started on mage blight. If some noble uses their magic too much, they end up snapping and going into a rampage. I don't know if this is going too far, but why join the Inquisition if you hate mages so much? It's because I hate mages. I want to throw them in the slammer. Considering the fact that, that's my job, is to sweep nobility's crimes under the rug. Sorry, I didn't mean to insinuate. Nope, you have the right of it. Anytime a noble is involved in a case, I'm ordered to look the other way. You don't seem very happy to do that. Why would you stay in this line of work? Because every once in a while, I'm allowed to put a criminal mage behind bars. We can't go after nobles, but any other mage is fair game. Or at least, they were before your boss showed up. Your boss, does he have something against Miss Timora? Ruby Timura. I have to ask, did something happen between you and Miss Timura? Ha! Miss Timura. What are you, her lackey or something? No, actually, she's my guardian. Oh, I didn't even know she even had it. Look kid, I don't know what the deal is between you two, but no good will ever come with associating with her. This is about the rumors, isn't it? Throughout years, there have been several insidious rumors surrounding Miss Timura. She's been accused of forgery, blackmail, and all manners of illegal activities. It's clearly misinformation spread by the nobility to discredit her. She's always been fine with it, but you can't help but get angry on her behalf. It's more than just rumors. I've seen it for myself. That woman's evil, kid. She defends mages who don't have the protection of the nobility. She's not evil. She's a hero. Yeah, whatever. Orm White's psychological profile is complete. That means we can help argument. Commander White seems unusually hostile towards you. You have a feeling that's not just because you embarrassed him in court today. If you can clear up this misunderstanding, you might be able to convince him to help you. Let's go! Yes, contradiction testimony, blah blah blah. Argument. Alright, I'm just gonna come out to say it. Do you have a problem with me, Commander White? You should know exactly what my problem is with you. I saw who you work for. I had to spell it out for you. Ruby Timura is a crooked lawyer. Or does your boss not tell you what she gets up to? Elocutions and arguments. Arguments are not always fought using hard evidence. Sometimes you need to elocute. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Elocute to convince your opponents that they're Actually, no, I'm gonna look this up. Okay, it's pronounced elocute. Sometimes you need to elocute to convince your opponent that their claim is wrong. When prompted for an elocution, choose from one of 3 possible responses. The correct response can be gleaned from reading your opponent's psychological profile. Oh, so defend, deflect, and rationalize. You have no right to throw basic accusations against me or Miss Timura. Regardless of what Miss Timura has done, I'm the one heading the case. It doesn't matter how you feel about me or Miss Timura. What matters the most is that my client deserves a fair trial with fair representation. I'm gonna say this one, rationalize. It doesn't matter how you feel about me or Miss Timura. What matters is that my client deserves a blah blah blah. All I'm trying to do is give her that. I've seen that woman do all kinds of shady shit in the cases I've worked on. Forgery, robbery, blackmail, you name it. You're just another crook. I bet you're just the same. A successor for the devil of defense attorneys. Huh. Commander White is stubborn and stuck in his ways. He seems to have a grudge against Ruby Timura and will react negatively if you try to defend her. However, he will respect you if you defend yourself against personal attacks. Forgery, bribery, blackmail. Have you seen me do any of those things? Because all I've done so far is point out the mistakes that you've made. Me being her successor has nothing to do with it. I'm not Ruby Timura. Regardless of what you've seen her do, I'm going to run an honest case. I'm gonna be honest. I think all of these work. He will respect you if you defend against yourself against personal attacks. I'm defending. I'm not Ruby Timura. It doesn't matter if the rumors are true or not. Regardless of what you've seen her do, I'm gonna run an honest case. Look, kid. I'd like nothing more than to believe you. But after everything I've seen her do, I know better. I have no reason to trust you. Anyone taught by that woman can't be more than a crook. Alright. Have you seen me engage in any crook-like behaviors? Nothing that I've done has given you any reason to suspect me. If you got no proof that she's a crook, and you sure don't have any other proof that I'm one either, this would be no, because that'd be saying that I'm like her. I'm gonna say this. Knowing that I've done nothing I've done has given you any reason to suspect me. Right now, I'm just a defense attorney that's asking you for information. Nothing I've done has given you any reason to suspect me. Argument 1. You just want some info, right? Yes, that's all I'm asking for. Alright, I'll answer your questions. Just don't make me regret this. You successfully persuaded Orm White. Alright. This probably goes without saying, but I don't believe the sword is a murder weapon. Right, I guess you have to prove that someone else put the sword there. Did the Inquisition find anything suspicious on the scene? If you're asking if we found another bloody weapon lying around, we definitely didn't. That would be too convenient, wouldn't it? But let me say that the girl really is being framed. Oh, but let's say the girl really is being framed. If there was another murder weapon, the killer probably walked out with it. Do you think they could have hidden it somewhere in the tavern? Doubt it. After the trial, Steelwind turned the place upside down and scanned it with her magic. If someone did hide a murder weapon here, they hid it well. Or they hid it in plain sight. Maybe it's a bottle after it exploded. Because like, let's see the evidence. This is the picture. That bottle is definitely sharp and, you know, I don't exactly understand completely what the transmutation magic does. I'll need more details on that, but I don't think it's gonna be the mage blade or whatever. Orm's mistake. I can't believe you made such an obvious mistake during your investigation. Oh, shut up with that. I already got an earful from Steelwind about that mess. Keeps talking about my salary and whatnot. You don't have to worry about me mucking things up. Steelwind's basically taking over the entire investigation. Wait, does she have the authority to do that? Normally she wouldn't, but I know better than to go against orders from a noble. Right, there's definitely a strange power dynamic between them. But honestly, that girl sweats the details too much. She even had my men draw up a scaled map of the crime scene. Wait, really? Do you have a copy? Sure, knock yourself out. Don't know how much good it'll do you. Hey, we got the crime scene map, McCoy Tavern. Geometrically scaled map of the crime scene. Let's take a quick look at that. Okay. You know, oh, so each block is 5 feet. I don't know where the body is. Why would you not put the body here? I'm guessing the body was here. And because you can see the table here, and yeah. Arya Steelwind. I heard that this was Professor Steelwind, Prosecutor Steelwind's first trial. She must be pretty talented if that's true. Pain in my ass, that's what she is. That damn noble comes in here telling me how to do my job. I honestly have no idea what she's even doing in this line of work. I heard that she's from a renowned noble house. She must be a pretty powerful mage. Ha! Powerful is an understatement. The Steelwinds who came before her could turn this entire town into a glass crater. What? There's no way that's true, right? You think you found everything that you can here. But what does it all mean? There's no murder weapon to be found, and there's no obvious evidence of another person at the scene. Hey, you okay? You got quiet all of a sudden. Alright, just focus. Close your eyes and let everything else disappear from the world. Hey, you listening? So there's no clear evidence pointing to another killer. There is, however, evidence pointing to how Flintheart moved before his death. What? What can we tell about how Flintheart died? There's no blood trail leading to or from the body. What does this imply about the location of Flintheart's death? So Flintheart didn't move during the murder. Or, no, after the murder. No, there was no blood trail where Flintheart's body's... Okay, there's no blood trail where Flintheart's body is. The lack of a blood trail tells us something important. Namely, where Flintheart was throughout the murder. Maybe before the investigation? No. During the murder? That's what I was trying to suggest, but like... Okay, Flintheart died where he was attacked. He didn't move from his position at all. Yeah, I guess you're right. There's also the autopsy report, which says that he died from a stab from behind. He was probably caught off guard and was too incapacitated to move anywhere else. This means that the attack happened at the exact position he fell over. Crime scene map, updated in your notes. Let's see this update. Is it the outline? Oh, the victim. Alright, cool. There's also this shattered bottle of lotus juice. How did the bottle shatter? I doubt it means anything, but the shattered bottle is right next to the body. So... I mean, this is kind of easier because we saw Flintheart as he was talking to the other dude. We know that he dropped the bottle during the attack. Flintheart Flintheart dropped the body when he was attacked. Oh, the music changed a little bit. From that, we can infer that he was holding it the moment before he was attacked. Shattered bottle of lotus juice. The shattered remains of the glass bottle. Flintheart McCoy was holding this bottle, blah blah blah. So what's so strange about one bottle, though? It may seem like an insignificant detail, but that detail could help me infer other elements about what happened during the murder. Right? There's also the fact that the I'm just gonna call it the artifact. No. There's also the fact that the artificatory lights were out. Were those candles here when you arrived at the crime scene, Orem? No, we had to light some so that we could see the crime scene properly. We thought it was weird too. The girl and her father must have had the argument in pitch black darkness. What can we infer about the state of the crime scene? They didn't light any candles to make up for the broken lights. It's gonna be the crime scene. So it's 3 choices for each one, I think. Crime scene had no lighting before the murder. Whoops. No, the candles were lit by the Inquisition after they came in to investigate the murder. And the dining room had no energy for the last week. It seems strange, but this can only mean one thing about the room's lighting. Maybe it's during. Yeah, during. The crime scene had no lighting during the murder. Broken power cell. Alright, I guess this was updated. This means that the lights were not operational during the murder. When I mentioned before, I meant like before the murder, the lights were out because they couldn't use it. It doesn't mean that they weren't. What I thought was like, it was still, not working during the murder, but yeah, whatever. The argument that Celeste had with Flintheart must have been spontaneous. They weren't planning to have a conversation in this room. In this darkness, Flintheart wouldn't have a lot of visibility. If he was stabbed from behind, he probably didn't see it coming. He was clearly surprised and was probably in too much shock to run away. Also, the body may seem insignificant, but he was holding it when he was attacked. Maybe he was pouring himself a drink, or maybe it was for a visitor. Either way, the assailant must have been unseen by Flintheart. Kid? Well, the assailant attacked him from his blind spot while his back was turned. Why would his back be turned, though? Was he distracted by something? Kid! What? What was that all about? Sorry, sometimes you just get lost in my thoughts. Yeah? Well, cut it out. You're freaking me out. Right. Anyways, you think you found everything that you can here. You should move somewhere else. Alright. So actually, wait a second. Tradition. What do you think about this? I don't know what you're expecting me to say. Not much to say about that. It's best to try something else. Well, okay. Oh man, I'm still gonna present it to everyone, I'm just saying. We'll go upstairs. If people keep seeing you here, they're gonna start asking questions. Leave the investigation to me. All you have to do is stay quiet until the trial is over. While heading upstairs, you spot the prosecutor having a conversation with someone. They seem to be in some kind of argument. Enough! I will do as I see fit. You may be a Steelwind, but this is my land. Oh, sorry. Oh, you're that defense attorney from the trial. I am. I'm sorry, but who? Oh, how rude of me. My name is Lord Garrick Pierce, the ruling noble of this land. Name, Garrick Pierce. Occupation, nobleman. But what's his magic? Transmutation! As the ruling noble, I suppose I should thank you for playing your role in the current trial. As misguided as it may be. Oh, man. I suppose that you also think my client is guilty? It does not matter what I think. This entire scandal has done nothing but rile up the common folk. Magic is a gift for the nobility, and nobility alone. It is a symbol of aristocracy and our divine right to rule. And now that bastard child has tainted that symbol in the public eye. All of that has nothing to do with her. She's just an innocent woman who got wrapped up in all of this. Even if she is innocent, the charges have been laid and made public. Someone must take the fall, lest the public accuse the justice system of corruption. So you're saying that she should be found guilty even if she's innocent? What do you suppose will happen if she's acquitted? All the public will see is the mage going free despite a myriad of evidence. That alone would be enough to cause public outrage. Tensions between the aristocracy and the common folk are high enough as is. What is one insignificant little girl when compared to the stability of our great kingdom? That's enough. Stop antagonizing him, Pierce. I can't refute what he said, but I don't agree with it. What? The system should be based on truth and justice, not public opinion. Then why are you working against my client? Do you honestly think she's the kind of person who would kill her father? It doesn't matter what type of person she appears to be. The evidence clearly points her as the only possible killer. But you should fight according to your own ideals, just as I will fight for mine. It's hard to get a read on that woman. I mean, she's not a bad person. She's just like, oh, what's the right word? Stubborn. Nah, she's doing her job because prosecutors are supposed to find ways that the defendant is guilty. Several doors lead to the guest rooms. Aside from the rooms that you and Miss Timora used, they don't look like they've been open for quite some time. There are some candles lighting up the hallway. They look like they used to be a part of the old architecture. There's a door at the end of the hallway. It looks like it was seen some use recently. What? You try to open the door, but it seems to be locked. Perhaps someone might have a key to open it. Alright, note to self. Look for a key. But we're done with this area. Let's go to the barracks and talk to Celeste. You return to the cell that Celeste is being kept in. The ambient despair in the air fills your mind like a horrendous stench. You do your best to ignore the emotions of other prisoners, but you haven't had much practice blocking out this many people. As you arrive, you see Celeste huddled down in a corner. As soon as she sees you, her dour mood seems to lift, if only for a moment. Oh, hi, Mr. Cuthbert. There's no need to address me so formally. Just call me Tyrion. Okay. Anyways, I came to ask you some questions about the case. Right. Let's look at this jail cell. There's only one locked door that leads into the cell. It seems that it's locked by some kind of magical mechanism. Lit torches are hanging on the walls of the cell. It seems a bit irresponsible to put a potentially harmful item here with the prisoners, but perhaps the Inquisition doesn't care about that. Alright. The cell has a barred window. Even if a prisoner somehow broke through the bars, there's a 3-story drop to freedom. Alright, I don't think there's much here, so we'll continue with talking to her. The trial. I'm sorry for freezing up like that. I almost lost us a trial. But no, there's no need to apologize. You did great. But it was only thanks to her. If she hadn't calmed you down, who knows what would have happened. But I still don't understand though. Why are there traces of magic in my dad's body? Right, those traces of magic were on the sword and the body. Magical traces are particles of magical residue that are left behind when a mage casts a spell. They only linger around for 48 hours, and that gives you a rough timeline of when and where a spell is cast. Did you cast Mage Blade on your sword that day? I did. I usually cast it when I train in the morning. That explains why there was a trace on the sword, at least. Did the trace on my sword leave a magical trace on my dad's body? No, magical traces can't be moved around physically. For a spell to leave a trace, it has to be active when physical contact is made. Really? What does that mean then? Whatever killed your father had a transmutation spell active on it at the time. The magical trace on your sword was just an unlucky coincidence. I can't believe this. Linhard McCoy, can you tell me more about your father? Sorry, I know this must be difficult after everything that's happened. No, it's okay. If it helps you, I'll try my best to answer your questions. Were you too close? We were. I'm sure you know this by now, but I was adopted by him and my mom. But even though I don't have their blood, they treated me as if they did. He loved me with all his heart until she became a mage? Until what? Does this have something to do with the argument that they had? The argument. I'm sorry to say this, but I could hear argument from my room that night. Could you tell me about what happened? For as long as I can remember, my dad has hated mages. I'm not sure why, but if you even mention magic around him, he'd fly into a rage. So I hid my magic from my family. But why even learn magic in the first place? If you really wanted to, you could have gone your whole life without using it. Ever since our tavern closed, my family has been in a lot of debt. So I decided to become a mercenary and use magic to enhance my ability to fight. Most mages are in the nobility, so people will pay a lot for sellswords who can use magic. So that's why she became a mercenary. Celeste's occupation has been added to your notes. But I know now, learning magic was the biggest mistake I've ever made. On that night, my dad found my spell compendium. When he confronted me about it, I finally came clean to him. That's when he flew into another one of his rages. He shouted at me, told me that I'd betrayed him and his family. I'm so sorry. Can't imagine how that must have felt. I deserved every bit of it. I knew how much he hated magic, but I learned to use it anyways. He showed me so much love and I just threw it all away. Don't say that. I'm sure he still loves you. No, I can see it in his eyes. He hated me, and he died hating me. You feel a sharp pain in your chest as you see that thought. Locked door. So, there's a locked door in the tavern. It's at the very end of the hallway upstairs. The Inquisition probably searched it already, but I just wanted to investigate it to make sure. A locked room at the end of the hallway? I think that's my room. Do you know how I can get in there? It's the only room in the tavern that I haven't investigated. You feel a suspicious gaze from Celeste. What's that look for? I'm your lawyer. I'm not gonna do anything weird. Sorry. You're right. Here, you can use this key to get inside. Celeste's bedroom key has been added to your notes. Alright, we can learn more about Celeste. What? Did you know I'm a lawyer? Can you tell me more about this? Oh, I don't really know what to say about that. Sorry. It'd be best to try something else. Oh no! Why? No! Okay, what about the courthouse? Oh, Cuthbert, you're back already. Sorry, I'm just a little lost about where to go next. Well, I suppose I could give you some guidance this time. Assistance. Sometimes it helps to speak with someone about the investigation. One character will almost always be able to assist you. You can speak with them about the investigation or ask them where to go next. Right now, Ruby Tymora is assisting you, but who knows? Maybe someone else might help you in the future. Gee, I wonder. So I guess this is like your help hint button. I don't think we'll actually need to do anything here. Don't waste my time, Cuthbert. Sorry. Let's see, this door leads to the courtroom. The fates of countless people have been decided beyond these doors. Oh, would you look at that? That looks really cool. It's a painting of a knight. There's some text under it. Sir Diogo, former commander of the Arcane Inquisition. Well beloved by both people and his fellow knights. After many years of service, Commander Diogo retired with honors. With this plaque, we thank and honor him for his dedication and commitment to the kingdom of Wyvern Guard. What about this one? It's a painting of a knight. There's some text under it. General David Serrano, former chief of the King's Guard. A beloved ally of House Steelwind, who served during the Great Luminite War. Oh, Lumin! The annals of history have countless tales of his courage, wit, and heroism. With this plaque, we thank him and honor him for coming to the defense of our kingdom in our greatest time of need. Look at this bench! There's a bench outside the courtroom. I used to sit here as a child when Miss Tymora was defending her clients. Alright. I don't think I'm gonna actually talk to her, because I don't really need hints for this first part. Let's go to the tavern upstairs. Actually, I know that's a hint button, but I do want to see the dialogue. Yeah, we're going back. We're going back. Tymora, talk to me. The investigation. It seems that Flintheart was a complicated man. Well, it's not uncommon for people like him to despise magic. To them, magic is a symbol of the nobility and the crown. But if he hates magic specifically, there has to be an explanation for that. Where should I go next, Miss Tymora? Well, the client gave you the key to her room, right? It's the only place you haven't checked. You might find something useful there. Wow, they straight up tell you. Oh, alright, yeah, okay. I'll remember that for the future. I'll probably talk to them, but not that option. Not the option to, like, you know. Yeah. Oh, wow. Use the key to enter Celeste's room. However, you're startled when you notice that someone else is already inside. I've already told you knights everything I know. What more do you... Oh, aren't you Celeste's attorney? Is this her mother? I am. Who are you? Damn it. My limited repertoire of female voices is coming through. Oh, how rude of me. I'm Jolene McCoy. I'm Celeste's mother. Current. Unemployed, yes. I was at the trial this morning. I can't thank you enough for everything that you've done for my daughter. So this is Celeste's mother. She might be able to tell you more about Flintheart. About that, do you mind if I ask you some questions for my investigation? Of course. I'll do anything to help. Well, let's see this bed first. It's a fancy looking bed. Celeste had it custom made. Wouldn't something like this be really expensive? It was. I was really surprised when she returned from her travels. Apparently, she was making a lot of gold from her job as a mercenary. Wow, you and Flintheart must have been happy for her. We are, but I still wish that she'd get a less dangerous job. Door. There's a door leading to the upstairs hallway. Painting. It's a painting of a woman with some sort of aquatic animal. Oh, I love that painting. Celeste brought it back from her travels. Supposedly, that woman is named Madeline Kipling. From what I heard, she runs a wildlife sanctuary for endangered species. I think the animal in this painting is called a Fey Kip? Celeste told me that she really likes them. That's interesting. You weren't aware that these kinds of creatures even existed. There's a table with several chairs. It must be used for entertaining guests. It doesn't look like it's seen much use though. Oh no, does she not have friends? She's so cute though, and she's so nice. Oh man, alright, let's talk to the mom. Can you tell me why your husband hated mages so much? I understand that most people dislike nobility and associate magic with them. But on that night, it's like he was furious at Celeste specifically because she was a mage. Oh, you must have talked to Celeste. I wasn't there when the argument happened, but I can only imagine what he said to her. Do you know what happened to him? Why does he hate magic so much? Okay, so she's age 46. Celeste doesn't know about this, but years ago, Flintheart had a sister named Effie. Wait, actually, how old was Flintheart? I think he was in his 50s? 52. Okay, 46 isn't too much. When we were all children, we were friends with a boy named Garrick Pierce. Oh, we know who that is. He was the son of the ruling noble at the time. Garrick Pierce? Isn't that the name of the nobleman that was speaking with Steelwind earlier? We were all inseparable at the time. He always sneaked into town to play with us against his family's wishes. They probably weren't too happy about that. He was quite rebellious back then, but he's a completely different person now. Everything changed when Garrick began learning how to use magic. One day when we were playing together, he wanted to show off the spells that he'd learned. He was told not to use his magic without an instructor there, but he was just too excited. He began casting spells, but something went horribly wrong. He lost control of his magic and fatally wounded Effie. We tried bringing her back into town, but by that time, it was too late, and she was already gone. I'm sorry, that must have been traumatizing for all of you. The next day, the Arcane Inquisition came to investigate what happened. House Pierce used their connections to cover up what happened. They even threatened Flintheart's family into keeping quiet. After that, the official story was that Effie had been mauled by a wolf. That's not surprising. The nobility seldom take responsibility for their actions, even for a mistake like that. Damn. Oh, okay, so if that's Flintheart's sister. Man, I thought this was her portrait. I was like, man, she looks just like Flintheart. Flintheart's sister died during an accident involving Garrick Pierce and his magic. Ever since, he hated magic and mages who wielded them. Something changed in Flintheart after that. He began speaking out against the nobility. Eventually, he started hosting rallies in this very tavern. Each night, more and more people began listening to his words and joining his cause. The number of people that he'd gotten under his banner was terrifying. There was even talk of an outright revolution against the kingdom. That might explain why someone would go out of their way to kill him. I knew how much danger he was putting himself in. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't convince him to stop. His attitude didn't even begin to change until we adopted Celeste. Can you tell me more about Celeste? How did she become a part of your family? It all happened many years ago, back when the McCoy Tavern was still open. We were closing one night when we found a baby with white hair abandoned in the dining area. We waited for weeks for her parents to come by, but nobody ever came looking for her. And that baby was Celeste? Yes, Flintheart and I had always wanted a child. I thought that Celeste must have been a gift from the Scaled Lord. But one day I saw Celeste practicing her magic. I think that's when I realized that someone from the nobility must have abandoned her at our inn. I didn't care though. I loved her all the same. I'm sure Flintheart did too. Wait, you knew that she was a mage all this time? I did. You haven't known her very long, but she's a terrible liar. Flintheart must have noticed too, but I think that he didn't want to believe it. It's my fault. I should have forced him to see the truth. Flintheart is Celeste. I spoke with Celeste earlier. She thinks that her father hated her because she was a mage. There's no way he would ever feel that way. He loved her more than anything in the world. No matter what he said to her that night, nothing would ever change that. After seeing them together, you figured as much. Celeste was the world to him. When we adopted her, it was the first time in decades I see him so genuinely happy. They must have been really close. More than anything. You want to hear a story? Celeste had just returned from her travels. She wouldn't stop talking about this foreign drink that she loved. It was the juice, lotus juice, yeah. I think it was called lotus juice or something like that. Well, Flintheart did everything he could to have it shipped here. He called in a bunch of favors with some of his revolutionary friends. But in the end, he was only able to get a single bottle of it. Is it really that rare? Yes! I wouldn't be surprised if it were the only bottle of lotus juice in the region. Wait a minute. Lotus juice? Is this the bottle that Flintheart bought? I showed her a picture of the shattered bottle that you found next to Flintheart's body. It is! Oh no. He was going to surprise her with it. I found the broken pieces next to Flintheart's. Well, I found them in the dining area. That's strange. He'd been keeping it in our room so she wouldn't find it. Really? When was the last time you saw it? Right before I left the house that night. It was right before the big argument. So it wasn't just laying around in the bar. He decided to retrieve it after the argument. Aww. Shattered bottle of lotus juice has been updated in your notes. The shadow remains a blah blah blah. Celeste's favorite drink. Alright, I think you've investigated everything that you can for now. There's still one last thing you need to do. You ready yourself for one last conversation with Celeste? Yeah, you gotta tell her that your daddy loved you, but first, anything about this? Can you tell me more about this? Sorry, but I don't much about these things. I guess that's alright. Alright, back to the barracks. Oh, you're back. Did you forget something? Actually, there's one last thing I want to talk to you about. Oh? Earlier, you said that something that I just can't let go. You said that your father died hating you, but after everything I heard about him, I don't think that's true. Your father loved you, Celeste, even in his final moments. He desperately wanted to reach her. If she keeps believing that he hated her, that thought would eat away at her for the rest of her life. You know that better than anyone else. He's just lying to make me feel better. But it looks like it won't be that simple. You'll need to win an argument against her if you want her to see the truth. Go! Celeste believes that her father died hating her, but after seeing them together and learning about them, you know that that can't possibly be true. You just need to convince her of that. Argument go! I know you're just trying to make me feel better, and I really do appreciate it. But everyone knows that my father hated mages. He always hated magic. There's no reason behind it. I mean, would it just be the lotus juice immediately? Go! What is this? Oh, your father hated lotus juice. He hated this because it's magic. This is the reason why your father hated magic. I'm sorry, but I don't think I understand. Oh, perhaps it would be best to try something else. They hated magic because of his sister. I don't know if okay, this is my first time getting something wrong before, so That's the yeah, you're right, but sound. I don't know if it's my place to say this, but there's a reason why your father hated magic so much. What? When Flintheart was a child, he had a younger sister. She was tragically killed by a mage decades ago. That's why he had such an immense hatred for magic. I never knew, but that doesn't change anything. That's all the more reason for him to have hated me. It was selfish of me to learn magic. I knew how much he hated magic, but I still learned to use it anyways. Magic killed someone that he loved. No wonder he was furious. Oh man. I'm gonna go with Celeste's occupation. But you didn't learn magic to benefit yourself, did you? You learned it to save your family after your tavern was shut down. That's... You're a good person, Celeste. You did everything you could to help your family. I'm sure your father recognized that. Just shut up. What? Shut up! Just stop it! Whatever composure he had before is slowly breaking down. You weren't there. You didn't hear what he had said to me. I could see it in his eyes. There's no way he would ever forgive me. In his final moments, he could only think of how I betrayed him. No, he was thinking about how to make up with you. Take a look at this picture, Celeste. What? A shattered bottle? Wait, is that a bottle of lotus juice? Do you know where I found this? On the floor of your family's inn. What? That can't be true. I tried to find it here, but no one sells it in Wyverngard. Your father knew how much you love this drink. He called in quite a few favors just so that he can have it imported for you. What? He did that? Your father didn't hate you, Celeste. He loved you more than anything. That doesn't change anything. If he did all that for me, it was before he knew about my secret. I'm sure he would have never done it if he knew the truth. That's not true at all. What the hell would you know about him? You barely even knew him. How could you possibly know how he felt about me? Don't you think I want to believe that he still loved me before he died? But I know the truth. There's no way that he would ever forgive me for what I did. It's not just the fact that he brought that drink for you. It's also where the bottle was when it shattered. What do you mean? Your mother said that that bottle would be stowed in her room before your argument. But I found that shattered bottle in the lobby where his body was. I ran into him before I went to look for you. He was going upstairs to his room. That can only mean one thing. He went to retrieve the bottle after your argument had ended. What? Why would he have it? It's because he was going to give it to you, Celeste. He was trying to give you a gift to apologize for what he said to you. He was going to apologize? Your father loved you, Celeste. And as tragic as it is, he was going to try to apologize to you before he was murdered. I don't like this. My daughter, working as a mercenary of all things. Come on, Dad. You know that I can handle myself. I don't doubt it. But you still shouldn't have to risk your left neck for our sakes. They closed the inn, Dad. We won't be able to survive unless I do this. Just be careful, okay? I don't know what I'd do if anything happened to you. No matter what anyone says, you're our daughter. And we'll love you until the day we die. Dad, how could I ever think that? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Dad. Celeste had barely been keeping it together throughout this whole argument, but her realization is finally causing her to break down. She begins crying loudly as she quickly embraces you. In this cold, dark place, she probably hadn't felt warmth of any kind for days. You're caught off guard, and you feel a little embarrassed, but you confront her while she vents her emotions. Argument 1. Wait, how did she embrace you if she's behind bars? Through the bars? Are you feeling better? Yeah, I think I'm okay now. I've been thinking of such horrible things this entire time. She looks at you and gives you a warm smile. It's probably the first time you've seen her genuinely smile since this whole ordeal started. Thank you. But is everything really going to be okay? Wait, but is everything really going to be okay? There's a typo here because it's there shouldn't be a comma. I'll make sure of it. I'll get justice for you and your father. It doesn't matter who stands in my way. Even if they're a man, king, or god. You're completely different now. What happened to the nervous wreck from before? Please forget about that. Anyways, take some time to rest. The trial is going to resume soon. With that, you've done everything you can for now. You learned a lot about what happened the night of the murder. You just hope that it's enough. But even with your investigation, you still don't know what the prosecution has planned. Has Pierce told you all the details, Mr. Rudolph? Will you remember them? Yes. I pride myself on my eidetic memory. Oh, damn it, I don't know that. Just so there are no misunderstandings. I do not approve of this. You said it yourself, Lady Steelwind. There's no possible way I could have done the deed. It has to be that bastard child. We don't know what sort of tricks Ruby Timora might pull tomorrow. Just see this as a way of securing a just verdict. Alright. Well, that was a pretty good chunk. I think I wanna end it for today. Yeah, you know, for a first case, this is pretty solid. Ace Attorney doesn't always have the best track record of having good first cases, but so far it is kind of simple and it does, you know, is kind of handholdy, but it is a tutorial case. It's not exactly, this game is open to people who haven't played Ace Attorney before, so you know, I think it's doing a good job as a tutorial. But we'll probably finish this case next time. I don't know how long the trial section is going to be next time. If it's super short, I'm going to regret this so much. But if it ends up being like half hour, anywhere less than 40 minutes, I'm just going to start the next case. I really hope it isn't. But yeah, we'll continue with this game next time. And until then, I will be seeing you. See ya!